All right, let's get into it. We're diving into this massive bestseller by Mark Manson. I mean, you've probably seen this super bright orange cover just about everywhere, right? Today, we're going to unpack the really counterintuitive and honestly pretty profound ideas that are packed inside this thing. It's a weird feeling, isn't it? Our culture is constantly yelling at us to be happier, to be healthier, to be the best, better than everyone else. But actually trying to keep up with all that, it can just leave you feeling totally exhausted and like you're not good enough. If you've ever felt that, well, you are definitely not alone.
So Manson's big point is that this non-stop chase for happiness, that's actually the problem. He calls it the positivity trap, and it has a way of creating this really nasty, vicious cycle of self-doubt. He has a great name for this, the feedback loop from hell. Here's how it works. You feel anxious about something, and then you start feeling anxious about the fact that you're anxious. Or maybe you feel guilty, and then you start feeling guilty for feeling guilty. You're basically trapped in this mental spiral, where your reaction to your feelings becomes a bigger problem than the feelings themselves. And you know what pours gasoline on this fire? The modern world. You just scroll through Instagram or TikTok, and it looks like everyone is living their absolute best life. The message over and over is that feeling bad or sad or anxious, that's a sign you're failing. And it makes us feel like there's something fundamentally wrong with us for just, being a normal human with normal human emotion.
Okay, so let's start busting some myths. The first one, and it's a huge one, is this whole idea that you have to always be positive. Manson throws a really powerful counter-idea at us here, something called the backwards law. This right here, this is the core of it. Seriously, let that sink in. Chasing a good feeling only reminds you that you don't have it. It's a negative thing. But, and here's the paradox, just accepting that you feel bad, that actually becomes a positive experience. It sets you free. And this just lays it out perfectly. On one hand, the more you obsess about being rich, the more poor and unworthy you feel right now. But flip that around. When you accept a negative experience, like the burn and the pain of a really hard workout, you end up with a positive result. You get stronger and healthier. It totally works in reverse. All right, on to myth number 2, the idea that a happy life means a life with zero problems. I mean, we all dream about it, don't we? But Manson says that's a total fantasy, and it's actually a pretty destructive one to believe in.
And to help us get this, he introduces this hilarious and honestly brilliant character he calls Disappointment Panda. Now, this is not your typical cuddly, feel-good superhero. Oh no, he's the one who shows up to tell you all the harsh truths that you kind of need to hear but don't want to.
And this is the panda's greatest truth bomb. Life is not about getting rid of problems. It's about finding better ones. Problems that you actually find some meaning and, even some enjoyment in solving. So this shows us that happiness isn't some finish line you cross. It's an active, ongoing process. Life is just one problem after another. The goal isn't to make them all disappear. It's to trade your bad problems for better ones. Think about it. A homeless person has money problems, and a billionaire has money problems. The billionaire just has much, much better money problems. Real happiness is found in the act of solving. Okay, this last myth we're going to tackle is a tough one, especially for our generation. It's this idea that every single one of us is uniquely special and destined for some kind of incredible greatness. Manson calls this the tyranny of exceptionalism. I mean, just think about it for a second. Because of the internet, social media, everything, we are constantly slammed with the absolute extremes. We see the top 0.001%, the geniuses, the superstars, the epic failures. What we almost never see is the huge, normal, average metal.
And what's the result of all that? Well, seeing nothing but the extraordinary makes us feel deeply insecure about our own lives. It's created this bizarre culture where just being average somehow feels like failing, which, when you think about it, is statistically insane, but it feels very, very real to a lot of us.
And this is another one of those paradoxes. The people who actually do become exceptional, they don't get there because they think they're already amazing. They get there because they're obsessed with getting better, because they're driven by this feeling that they're actually pretty average and have a really long way to go.
So, if happiness isn't about being positive all the time, or having no problems, or being some kind of special genius, then what is it about? Well, this brings us right to the heart of the book, the subtle art of making conscious choices. To really bring this idea to life, Manson tells this incredible story comparing two musicians who went through almost the exact same tough experience. One was kicked out of Metallica, and the other was kicked out of the Beatles.
Just look at this breakdown. You have Dave Mustaine. He gets kicked out of Metallica, goes on to form another hugely successful band, Megadeth, but he measures his own success against Metallica's, and because of that, he always saw himself as a failure. Then you have Pete Best, the original drummer for the Beatles. He got kicked out too, but eventually he found happiness by choosing completely different values, things like a loving family and a stable, quiet life.
And here's the absolute key takeaway from that story. It wasn't their circumstances that decided their happiness. It was the values they chose to live by. It was the yardstick they used to measure their own lives. Your values decide what kinds of problems you have, and the quality of your problems is what determines the quality of your life. So this whole philosophy really boils down to 3 key ideas, or subtleties. First, not giving a fuck doesn't mean you don't care about anything. It means you're comfortable being different, and you choose what's actually worth caring about. Second, the way to handle tough times is to care about something even more important in the tough times. And finally, and this is a big one, you have to accept that you are always choosing what to give your attention and energy to, whether you're conscious of it or not.
See, most of us go through life asking ourselves the wrong question. We ask, what do I want to enjoy? But that's an easy answer. I mean, who doesn't want a great job, amazing friends, and a life with no worries? That question doesn't really get you anywhere meaningful.
The real question, the one that can actually change your life, is this one. What struggle are you willing to put up with? What kind of pain are you willing to sustain to get the life you want? Because true happiness always requires a struggle.
Because at the end of the day, who you are isn't defined by the good things you want. It's defined by the struggles you are willing to embrace. And that is the subtle art of choosing what matters. And ultimately, it's the art of living a truly good life.